Hello everyone, today we are going to be talking about a motherly, pure-hearted magical girl, Maria Yuki. So let's get started. Maria Yuki is a heel-type magical girl. Her exact age is unknown, but with is known that she is in high school and described to look like a young woman. She may be around the age of 18 or 19 years old, considering those are the start of being a young adult and still being around high school age. Maria has blue eyes and dark brown hair. Her soul gem is a light circle located on her torso in her magical girl form. Her weapon are animal hand puppets, specifically that of an orca and a sea turtle. Her wish to become a magical girl came from wanting to save a kid who got run over by a car. "Please save that child," were the words that she said to make the wish. Maria, at the time of this information, has no witch or doppel. She attends Minagi Library Academy, and again, the exact grade is unknown, but she may be around the 12th grade. Her magical element is the water element, and her ability is unknown. A magical girl who is motherly and pure of heart, people often mistake her for a young woman, but she's still in high school. She works part-time at a local daycare. In front of her favorite kids, she's like a gentle big sister. However, her friends know her for her more malicious side. Maria bids her parents goodbye for the day as her father heads out the door. Her mother informs her she'll be running late with a client and hands Maria some money so she can buy herself dinner. Maria thinks 5,000 yen is a little too much, so she agrees to pick up 100 yen instead. She tells her mom she's will be running a little late too, since she has to go to her part-time job after school. Her mom warns her not to come home too late before heading out of the way. On her way to school, Maria runs into two little girls, one which attends the daycare that Maria works at. Maria works there because she loves children, not necessarily because she needs the money. Marie is very popular at the daycare. The children swarm her with their constant demands of book readings, homework help, and playing various games. When one of the girls asks her for help with her homework, Maria picks out another child that's in the same grade as her so they can all work on it together. She chooses a boy named Shinkun and calls out to him but discovers him looking rather down. Maria asks him what's wrong, but the boy doesn't want to say, as he goes to start his homework. Maria speaks with one of the daycare workers and mentions how sad Shinkun has been looking at the past few days. She wishes she could do more to help the children and recalls the circumstances under which she contracted. Initially, she had no idea what to wish for, but at the moment, a car swerved and accidentally struck a child. Without a moment's hesitation, Maria had wished for Kyubei to save that child. Maria had no regrets in terms of becoming a magical girl, but even so, she still wishes she could do more. She wonders if Shinkun isn't so much sad as he is lonely. Noticing how he seems to prick up when his mother comes to pick him up, Maria takes a moment to pull his mother aside to speak with her. She lets her know how sad Shinkun has been looking and asks if he isn't lonely at home. Shinkun's mother admits that her job is already pretty latent, with which time she leaves and she's been working on Saturdays to make it up. She knew that Shinkun was lonely but had pretended not to notice until Maria pointed it out. Maria doesn't think she's a horrible mother, but she does suggest she spend a day with Shin-kun to help him connect with her more. Shin's mother agrees and promises to spend the next day off with him, but she's not sure what kids his age like to do. Maria says to leave it to her and promises to get something together by this weekend. At school, Maria is looking over different places that Shin could go with his mom. One of her classmates asks what she's doing when a different classmate points out that those kinds of places are popular with families that have children. The two tease Maria and she asks if she's not going to go there with her dead husband's love child. Maria frowns and asks them to stop joking around like she's some kind of widow. The first girl grins and says that they also added neglected wife to their profile. Maria asks if she really looks that old. Her classmates reply that she has such a mothering aura that they can't help but feel like they're little children that needed mothering from her. Maria says she understands before smiling boldly and says she should just become their mother then. She approaches one of them and asks her to call her mommy. Her classmate blushes deep red as she calls her mommy before laughing and saying they never stood a chance against Maria. Maria also breaks into laughter as she explains that she was making plans for a mother and son to go to her daycare. They ask if it's part of her job, but Maria just can't help it when she sees a family in need. Later that day, Maria presents her weekend plan to Shin's mother when she arrives to pick him up. Shin's mother is impressed with how detailed the plans are and is beginning to look forward to spending the day with Shin. Initially, she was worried that she'd been the only one having fun. Maria is glad to see things are going well. Maria can't help but be overcursive on how their day together went, so she decides to go to the location where they should be accordingly to her schedule. Sure enough, she can spy them in the distance, participating in the plastic bottle rocket event the park by the beach is hosting. It looks like they are having fun until Shin asks his mother to make one as well as she declines. Sensing something may be amiss, Maria decides to watch them no longer. Since they had headed to schedule, Shin's mom suggests they play in the park for a bit. Shin sees the other kids playing in the water fountain and wants to go play as well, but his mom tells him no because the fountain is supposed to be off limits. Shin asks why he can't go play since the other kids are playing in the fountain anyway, but Shin's mom is finding it difficult to explain to Shin why he can't go. Shin just sighs and says it's fine. The two just stand there awkwardly and nothing else to do. Seeing how poorly things are going, Maria decides to make an appearance by pretending to run into them. Shin's mom knows it can't be a coincidence, but Maria tells her to shush. Shin explains to Maria that he was playing with his mom and asks her if they can play together, even though this was supposed to be a day for the two to get along. Maria decides to intervene just this once to help them get back to talking with each other. The group head over to the playground equipment and Maria gets Shin to try to go across the tightrope bridge. She wonders if maybe he's still afraid of it since he was only in the first grade, but he puts up a brave face and tries to go across. His mom watches as Shin tries to walk across but gets nervous. He calls out for his mom, who doesn't know what to do at first until Maria tells her to take his hand. After watching him struggle, Shin's mom finally understands and offers her hand out to Shin so they could together make it across the bridge. After the park, they decide to grab some lunch. Shin offers his mom a bite of his plate. His mom is surprised that Shin can eat such spicy food now despite his young age and offers to make him more of the same kind of food next time she cooks. Just as Maria decides that things have worked out and is ready to leave after they finish eating, Shin's mom receives a phone call from the chef director of her workplace. It seems they want her to come into work on her day off. Maria prays. She said no, but unfortunately Shin's mom relents and agrees to come in. Shin's mom hangs up the phone and tells Shin she has to go to work. Now he'll have to go home. Shin looks sadder than ever as Maria takes it upon herself to offer to watch Shin for a while until it grows dark, so he won't be alone. Shin's mom is relieved at the offer of help and tells Shin to be a good boy until she gets back. Shin just sits there sadly and doesn't respond. Maria takes Shin with her to show him lots of places where he could go to have fun. She tells him to memorize all the places so that he can take his mom there some other time. But Shin just sadly nods and says he hopes he never gets a chance to, since his mom is so much busier than other moms. Maria understands that Shin must feel lonely comparing himself to the other kids, and she compares it to how she felt when she was little. The other kids' parents would pick them up after school, whereas Maria had to walk by herself and then would usually pick up a bento on the way for her dinner. She doesn't want him to go through the same things she did, so she vows to do whatever she can to make today a special day for him. Shin and Maria are heading out at the aquarium next, where Maria is showing him the ghost shark and other attractions. She suggests to go check out the striped backfish next. Shin says he prefers the dolphins and penguins more, but Maria says he'll regret it if he misses out. They sit for the show, and it turns out Shin really liked it. He asks if they can go buy some souvenirs next. Elsewhere, Shin's mom is hurrying to get back to the office when she gets another call. According to this call, she's no longer needed at the office anymore and can have the rest of her day back off. She knows she should go straight back to Shin, but doesn't know how she can even face him. The sun is beginning to set as Shin and Maria feast on takoyaki. Maria points out a bench where they can sit and eat, but Shin thinks it's a waste of time. Maria warns him not to eat while walking, but Shin frowns and turns silent for a moment before replying that his mom says the same thing. Since all other kids at school always eat while they walk, he wonders why he's the only one who's not allowed to do so. He wonders what his mother and Maria must think of him, but Maria explains that it's because it's dangerous. He could fall and get hurt, or the food could get stuck in his throat. But mostly, she also believes that the food would be tastier if they were to sit down and enjoy it instead. She believes that his mom told him not to for the same reasons. Shin wonders if that's why his mom told him not to play in the fountain. Maria nods and says it's because he could catch a cold, and besides, that fountain wasn't designed to be played in, so he could fall in and get hurt himself on one of the sharp corners. Maria says there's always a good reason when his mom tells him he can't do something. Shin finally understands and suggests they sit down and eat at the bench. The two sit down and enjoy the takoyaki, although Shin declines to finish the last one. Shin's mom appears, having caught up to them. She greets the two and explains that she didn't have to go back to the office after all. She asks Shin to give her a moment while she talks to Maria for a moment. She then pulls Maria aside and tries to explain how much trouble she has expressing herself. When she saw how well Maria got along with Shin, along almost like the Virgin Mary herself, she wanted to be just like her. Maria says she'll be just fine, leaving Shin's mom confused. Shin pops up and says he overheard everything. He gives his mom a hug, and while having the biggest smile on his face. Shin had thought his mom didn't love him. Shin explains that his mom didn't look like she was having fun when she was spending time with him and didn't want to talk, so Shin had assumed that his mom didn't love him. Shin's mom thought that Shin didn't love her since she was always telling him not to do things and seemed to just be a bother to him. Shin is surprised to hear this and says he loves her and thought she didn't love him. The two argue for a bit amidst their tears until Maria tells the two to calm down. Maria explains that neither of them realize how much love each other has. She tells the two of them that she too used to spend a lot of time alone because her parents would come home late from work every day. But even though she was lonely, she still loved her parents. She tells Shin's mom that she doesn't have to be the Virgin Mary to be a good mother. Shin's mom thanks Maria for everything. Shin then shows her mother the stuffed striped backfish they bought at the aquarium for her and hands it to her the last takoyaki, which she didn't eat so they could save it for her. Maria smiles at the two of them, glad to see that her hard work is done for the day. With everything wrapped up nicely and the day grown dark, Maria gets ready to leave. Shin's mom thanks her for once more for all the things she has done for them and tells her she thinks she can face Shin from now on. She hesitates for a moment before asking Maria if she isn't actually a neglected housewife with an adult son by any chance. Maria shakes her head and insists that she's only in high school. Shin's mom laughs and says it was a joke. Nonetheless, she believes that Maria will make a splendid mother one day as she and her son head off to their home. As Maria walks home alone, glad to see everyone was resolved nicely, she ponders if she really would be a good mother. She recalls the time she had first contracted with Kyubey. Shortly afterwards, she had spoken with Kyubey, who had then explained to her that her soul gem is actually her soul. Maria is struck dumb by the realization as Kyubey tries to explain that her body is now like a computer's peripheries. Remembering what Kyubey has said, she wonders if she could ever be a good mother if she's already a magical girl. Her name Maria means truth, village, and love, while her last name Yuki means reason and Lord, respectfully. Her name could be a reference to the Virgin Mary, as she cares for children. Fact 1. Her illustrator is Aomen. Fact 2. The Memoria, a little success, makes reference to Hinamatsuri and Hina. Hinamatsuri is more commonly known as Girls' Day or Girls' Festival. Dolls representing the emperor, empress, and their court are called hina, and are arranged on a tiled displayed stand in people's homes. Fact 3. Maria Yuki's voice actor is Rikato Aida, who you may know for voicing Riko Sakurachi from Love Live Sunshine, Koto Atsuki in Senryo Girl, Shino Satome in Val X Love, Fuka Minazawa in The Aqueduct on White Sand, and Quartz in Arknights. And that's Maria Yuki from Magia Record. Next time, we are gonna get into a side story and main story magical girl, a friend of Yachio Nanami, who sadly turned into a witch, and as it's considered a death for a magical girl, she is a girl all around and loves around fortune telling. That being Mel Anna. So see you next time.